What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here at delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. My newsletter will be in the description below. Please sign up and you can get a free graphic novel from me, which is a great deal. All right, I've been kind of quiet this week. I've just been using pre-recorded videos of my reviews and all that because I've been sick. You can probably hear it in my voice. And so I haven't really wanted to do much talking the last couple of days. Just got a sore throat. It's not coronavirus. I was tested. It's just a cold, but it still knocked me out, setting me behind and messing everything up. So absolutely no fun. All right. I was listening this morning to this podcast, which is called Robservations by Rob Liefeld. And Rob Liefeld is one of the most popular comic artists in the world. If you don't know who he is, I don't know how to help you, but you can go look him up. And he's been doing a series of just critiques of the comic industry, talks about the past, interesting stuff that's happening. And it led to this talk on the New 52, which was DC's reboot initiative, gosh, more than 10 years ago now. It's hard to keep track of all the DC reboot initiatives because it seems like there's just one after another, and there's just no plan going forward for them that beyond let's just do the reboot and have new number ones to exploit and sell. And that seems to be their only plan every single time. They always reboot the universe and they're going to change the universe, but it's never clear exactly what changes. And sometimes nothing changes. And you've got books just continuing like they never stopped. And you've got books just completely rebooted. Very bizarre. And New 52 was one of those. I only read a couple books back then. And I remember starting on Supergirl, and Supergirl was a brand new origin of Supergirl again, which they just did right after Reed doing it with Jeff Loeb before that, just a couple years prior. Very funky thing. But the Batman books just kind of continued, and you didn't really see any change other than Barbara Gordon now being back as Batgirl and that whole Killing Joke thing disappearing. So it was really a cluster. And it looked and sounded like they had a big plan because they were going to do 52 books. They had it all mapped out. They had that whole 52 series, which had a book a week for 52 weeks. So it seemed like they really were all in on this number and had something revolving around this that actually made sense and was going forward. And then it turned out that it didn't. Well, the reason everybody thought it was at the time goes back into this podcast and what Rob Liefeld was saying. Dan DiDio, who was the publisher of DC at the time, went around conventions, giving speeches, talking about how great all this was going to be. He just was a salesman. He went out there and he just sold. And he was kind of charming. He was kind of charismatic. And apparently he was even more so back in the boardrooms, of Warner Brothers or whatever, where as Liefeld put it in this, he just kind of convinced everybody that he knew what he was doing because of the way that he kind of sold things. And when he got into things, if you listen to the cluster that Rob Liefeld went through and tried to create for some of these books and how they would just change characters on him and they'd tell him to add this character, subtract this character last minute. They'd be firing writers for apparently no reason in the middle of things other than, just to have Dan DiDio show some power. It was a very bizarre setup. And Rob Liefeld really savages the management of DC during this time, which is exciting to listen to. He actually calls Dan DiDio a raving lunatic during this. So it's pretty bad. But that's exactly what I saw. I mean, you saw the product just was this like clustered mess that really didn't work out for the most part. And every single initiative he did thereafter was exactly the same thing. You get this new event. It ends up being a clustered mess when you expected something, that was going to be very orderly and cool about it. And it was just extremely disorganized. So this is the problem when you kind of appoint a salesman as the head of your everything, who doesn't have, the organizational skills to actually get things done. And we see this across the board. This happens in comics all the time. This is not just something that is Dan DiDio's doing. We've seen it happen with Marvel. We've seen it happen with certain indie comics groups also. You get these guys who sound really good. They sound like they know what they're talking about, but they actually don't. And they actually have no back experience of actually maintaining good products, keeping things going, making a line that matters, and building a movement that, can be useful for anything or anybody. It's really sad to watch, but it's a good warning. And I'll leave this link in the description below also so that folk can check it out and listen to Rob Liefeld talk about this, because he's got a lot of good observations and a lot of good experience with this. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you, and leave a comment down below. Hit the like and subscribe button. Next time I'll try to go longer. I just can't talk right now. It really hurts. So thank you guys for being there. I appreciate you. We'll be back soon.